This is the Let's Connect with Leslie O'Hare podcast. Your host, Leslie O'Hare, dating and conflict resolution coach, TV personality, TEDx speaker, and author, created this podcast to ignite a spark of excitement that will immediately educate, motivate, empower, and inspire all women to live their best life. The Let's Connect with Leslie O'Hare podcast. Created for women by a woman. Let's Connect is more than a talk show. It's a conversation show. Let's have a conversation. Here's Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here again on this Friday. You know, I say this every week, and I just think that is so important to mention why I created Let's Connect. I think that in the times that we live in today, we're not connecting as a society because we're dealing with so many different things. The pandemic, one of the biggest things that we're dealing with, and so many other issues in our personal lives and our work life. And if I could utilize my platform as a TV host, author, and TEDx speaker, and to be able to create a platform such as the podcast to have conversations for women by a woman, it's been my pleasure to do this for almost 2 months now with you. And today I have a very empowering woman on the show as a guest. Sheri is the Chief Executive Officer with City House in Plano, Texas. And she's going to be sitting down with me today talking about all of the amazing things that City House does to be able to make a huge impact in the lives of children, youth, and young adults. In just a few moments, she'll be sitting down with me. But before I go to Sheri, I want to first show a very brief clip of City House so that you can have a really clear understanding as to their mission and all the great things that they're doing in your community, my community, and all communities. So after this brief video, I'll be back with Sheri Messer on the other end. Back in a moment.
I will run, I will climb, I will soar. I'm undefeated. Oh, jumping out of my skin, pull the cord. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, the past is everything we were. Don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is stars. It's not until you fall that you fly. When your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will glow in the dark, turning dust to gold, and we'll dream impossible. Possible. I will chase, I will reach, I will fly until I'm breaking out my cage like a bird in the night. I know I'm changing into something big, better than before. And if it takes 1,000 lives, then it's worth fighting for. It's not until you fall that you fly. When your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will glow in the dark, turning dust to gold, and we'll dream impossible.
Did you know that how you are perceived by others is a direct reflection of how you present yourself to the world? The brainchild of stylist Bobby Schwartz, The Iconic Style is the online resource for all women looking to up their style game. From learning how to address the challenge of daily dressing and building your essential wardrobe to learning how to build your power wardrobe and dressing for success. Be Iconic Style is the only website you'll ever need. We even do the shopping for you. Looking for a one-on-one consultation with Bobby? We do that too. Visit us online at beiconicstyle.com. Be confident, be empowered, be iconic.
I shared with you before the commercial break that we were bringing Sheri Messer, and I'm so happy to have her here. And so, Sheri, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you? It's good to see you.
I'm good seeing you as well. Thank you so much for being here today. Before the commercial break, I showed an amazing video that you all have. I wanted to show the longer version, but for time's sake on the show, but I do encourage everyone to go to cityhouse.org to see the longer version of the video. But I wanted to show that because I thought it was essential for my audience to really have a clear understanding. While you were in the green room, I shared with them, I wanted them to have a clear understanding as to all the amazing work that you and your team do, the commitment, the drive that you have to make a difference in the lives every day, in the lives of children, youth, and young adults, and equipping them with such skills that they need to be empowered to live their best life. I know the mission of City House is to really transform the lives of at-risk youth, as well as the at-risk youth and children that are coming from substance abuse, whether they're coming from some type of neglect or experiencing homelessness. Where did that passion come from for you to get involved in the nonprofit entity in the first place? And also, where does the drive and passion come from to want to help children?
So I had a corporate career for the first half of my life, adult life. And during that time, I spent about 12 years volunteering with my three daughters when they were in high school. And so I did a lot of volunteering from the older people population to the younger. And I really resonated with the youth and young adults because they have not been they didn't choose to be in the life that they were born into, and there is so much neglect and abuse that I truly had a passion for that population. And I came to City House because of that passion. I purposely searched out the agency that worked with this population, and then I started as a volunteer, and it has morphed into me being here in this position, and I feel very blessed to be able to help these kids each and every day, and the staff. I mean, we couldn't do what we do without the wonderful staff that we have.
And that is a blessing because to hear how you started, you were in corporate America, you volunteered with your daughter, and we just never know the paths that God is going to take us on to get us to another step, a next level. And so I'm really glad that you have embarked on this amazing chapter in your life, because you can see the commitment that you have. And in watching a video, that it's one thing to have a team. It's one thing to have a higher up, a chief executive officer as yourself, but it's a huge thing to have a team and a higher up that's really passionate about what they do, because I think that's how we really truly succeed.
Yes.
What I want to talk about, I would love to delve into your programs that you have and talk about them individually. You have the emergency shelter, and I think it's important to take it individually so that if anyone's watching that's in need or knows someone, they also know exactly what the help they can get from City House. So let's start with the emergency shelter. That's typically for a child that's between the ages of being newborn to 17 years of age. Talk to us a little bit about how that program works and also how it ties into the runaway and homeless youth program.
Yes, so we serve birth to 17 at our emergency shelter, and about 75 to 80% of those kids come to us from Child Protective Services. So they are the kids that are actually being taken from the home because of abuse, neglect, and whatever trauma they may be dealing with, very unsafe environment. And so we care for them. The other part of our population is the runaway youth. And these kids typically are older. CPS will care for up to 17, but they usually have younger siblings.
Mhm.
And so the kids that fall into what we call community kids are the kids that don't have younger siblings, have not been brought in by CPS, but they are living in horrid conditions at home. They're fleeing neglect, drug abuse, sexual abuse, all types of things. And so those kids in our industry, they're called the throwaway kids, because these are the kids that the parents had them and they just don't care for them. They don't parent them. They don't teach them. They don't love and nurture them. They don't feed them.
Right.
So those are the two different populations that we serve in the shelter.
And then you also have the youth resources outreach, which is for ages 16 to 21. I know with that particular program, there's a lot of life skill programs that you offer within that, which I think is essential and needed. And then you also do something which is very interesting. You really have a support system for LGBTQ individuals that are oftentimes left out, especially with children. That's a very tough thing that they go through. There's a lot of bullying done in that whole area of kids. And so to see that you also work with them, I was very surprised and also happy about that. So tell us about that program with the youth resources and outreach.
So the Youth Resource Center is get all the kids that come in to see us get every service that we offer, with the exception of residential. And so then our goal is that we get them in here. They start trusting us. These are very non-trusting for good reason. We build a rapport. They start trusting us, and then we can get them into our transition living, which is a longer-term home stay for them, so that kind of balances out all of the services for them. One thing I want to touch on, since you
Sheri, I hate to
recognize the
I
need to
can you hear
provide
me, Sheri?
different, like more services because of the way this population is treated, as you mentioned, bullied. And so we have just won a federal grant award that gives us funding just to focus on LGBTQ. And so now we have one home that has 8 beds, is dedicated to that population, and working on training to work with the population. And we'll continue to work with our Youth Resource Center clients as well. So for that population.
Sheri, I don't know if you can hear me. I just sent you a chat. On your end, for some reason, the internet, we're losing it and it's freezing up. But I think when it was freezing, you couldn't hear me. So I just sent you a chat. Can you hear me now? Wave at me.
Yes, I can.
Okay. There's internet on your this freezing on the end. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see what I'm seeing on this end?
Yeah, I can see you freezing. I'm so sorry. I don't know. Yesterday we lost our entire power at the building for about 8 hours, and so I don't know if it's an after effect.
Are you hardwired to the system or using your Wi-Fi? I think I'm completely losing you now. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Are you hardwired or Wi-Fi?
I'm Wi-Fi right now.
Are you able to hardwire, or is it too short notice for that?
Well, my monitor on my hardwire doesn't have a camera.
Gotcha. Not a problem at all. So
Sorry. We're,
no,
nonprofit. We don't have all the bells and whistles.
that is not a problem. That's not a problem at all. So I can hear you. The screen isn't as clear, but as long as you can hear me, which you can, right? If you
Yes, I
wouldn't
can.
mind repeat, since I can hear you clear, if you wouldn't mind repeating that last question on the youth resources and outreach and tell us a little bit about that program. If for some reason it freezes up again, for some reason you can't hear me, I'll message you, okay?
I'll look at it. So the Youth Resource Center, we have the kids that are actually chronically homeless, and so they come in and get every service that we provide without residential care. But what our staff does is they build a rapport, they build a trust with these kids, and kind of guide them into thinking about coming into a residential program, which could be with us through the transitional living program or another agency, because we do a lot of partnering with the different agencies, because our goal is to get the client to the place that's going to make them most successful. And then I wanted to mention the LGBTQ. So we have been serving that population for probably since day one, more intensely over the years. And we have just won a grant from the Runaway Youth Foundation, federal foundation, and it's focused on LGBTQ. So we are dedicating one full house with 8 beds to the LGBTQ community, and we're going to have some additional training, more purposeful training, to
Wow.
be able to help those kids, because they are treated differently. They are bullied, as you mentioned, and we just got that announcement at the beginning of October. So this is something we're very excited about doing and being able to help more purposeful in that area.
And I think it is a necessity, no matter what our beliefs are. And as Christians, we have whatever our beliefs are, whatever your Christianity is. I do think that God doesn't want us to leave anyone out. And I don't think he wants us, it's not our job to punish or judge. And so I really want to thank you all so much for at least reaching out to them. Because as I said earlier, as children, a lot of times they don't even understand.
Right.
And a lot of times their family do kick them out and there is no love. And to know that they have a safe place that they can sleep, they can get shelter, they can get food, they can get love is
Right.
essential. Your street outreach, I think, is also really amazing, because you actually have a team of individuals that literally get in the van and they ride it through what you call hotspots areas. And in those hotspots, that's where you find more youth and teenagers really possibly experiencing homelessness, just out on the street. They're hungry. They don't have proper shelter. They don't have proper food or clothing. And you all come along and you literally give them food on the street. And if they need to come back with you, you take them back. Tell us how that works.
Yes, so our team goes out at least 3 times a week and more if possible.
Mhm.
And they go, and the time periods usually earlier in the day or later in the afternoon, or early evening.
Mhm.
And they take Ziplocs full of food. And we also include a sheet of resources. So we give them all the resources. But we want to help them, but if we're not the right fit for them, we want them to know what's available for them. And I think that's very important. We also provide them with a toiletry bag, which is a small toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, a roll of toilet paper. I mean,
Wow.
if you think about that, just the dignity, and so we provide them with those things, and these kids are the ones that are chronic homeless and the least trusting. And the goal is, if we go out there frequently enough and they see us and they start saying, well, they are for real, they really want to help me. And then they get that report. And our goal is to get them to walk through the doors. And I get chills telling this story, because when they walk through the doors, then we've made progress. They've made progress. And
Absolutely.
then we can continue to work with them and hopefully get them in residential care. And if we can do that, we really can make an impact on reducing homelessness in our community. We really can do that.
And I think that's you mentioned the simple things as far as having toothpaste and having tissue. Those seem like really simple things, but they're very essential things, and they're very big things to all of us, because we need them. And I think that the program and being able to touch their lives and meet them on the street and have them to walk through the door, It lets them know that there's somebody, that they are important. And to get them through the door lets them know that. And I think one of the things a lot of youth go through, even adults, the lack of self-esteem when they have no support.
Mm.
And when you're able to get the kids through the door and they see the smiling faces on the other side of the door, which is your team, to let them know that you're not alone, I think that's just one of the biggest things and one of the best first steps in their life to help them to want to say, you know what, I'm here and I want the help. Because it's very hard for us, even as adults, to say that we need help and that we
Right.
want help. And if you can get a young person to that level and to that point, my goodness, how life changing is that for them?
Right.
It really is. We're going to take a really quick commercial break, Sheri, and we'll be right back in a moment, everyone.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Johnny Rodriguez, the owner of Johnny Rodriguez Salon, and I love partnering up with Leslie O'Hara in taking care of our clients. Our main focus is to take care of women and their hair needs, along with their beauty needs. We want to make sure that we get to know you from the inside out. We work with your lifestyle, not just your hairstyle, but your facial structure. We teach you how to do your hair, make sure you're confident in how to duplicate that look, and just to make sure that you feel as good on the inside as you do on the outside. So can't wait to work with you, can't wait to come see you, book a consultation or an appointment at either location in Dallas or Plano, and we look forward to seeing you.
I am back with Sheri Messer, the Chief Executive Officer with City House. And Sheri and I are talking about all the great things that City House has to offer in Plano, Texas. She's been with City House since 2015. And it's just been amazing having the conversation and also being educated on all that you all have to offer. One other program that you have, which I think is very great, is the Rapid Rehousing Program. And that program is where you connect the youth between the ages of, or young adults between the ages of 18 and 24. You connect them with apartment locations. And one part of this program, it appears based on the information that I have, is that you all really take the time to find the right apartments for these youth that are going to be able to also help with their credit, because obviously they don't have good credit because of what they're going through, and also to work within their own financial status that they're at that point. Talk a little bit about that program. And before you do, just so everyone's clear, I believe there's a rent and move in part of this program, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you also have the case management program. And talk to us about how this works and how do you really get them settled and connected with an apartment complex to even be willing to work with them on a bad credit score, because we can't do it outside of that as adults, right?
Right. It's a great program. It is a challenging program, especially in the environment that we're in, and also with apartment rental rates, because they're higher than we need them to be. But we do find apartments that will work with us. And the part that's important is to build a relationship with the apartment complex, because it takes time. We started working with this type of program about 4 years ago, and it took us a good year and a half to really start making the inroads. That's how challenging it is. So it is a very challenged program, but it's a great program. We work with the clients to, we can help subsidize the rental rates, and depending on where they are on their financial situation and where they are in their work history and how much they're making, then we help do that. But what's also most important, and this program is funded, actually it starts with HUD, and they put the guidelines in place for us, and they do have case management, but we have seen that we need to really be more intentional with case management and do a little extra to help our clients be set up for success. So that's a real critical part in working. It's not about just putting someone in an apartment and walking away. It's about continuing to check in and make sure, are you meeting your goals? Are you continuing to save money and
Right.
prepare when you are going to be paying 100% of that rent?
Because you're preparing them and setting them up for success.
Correct.
And I think that's essential, because if you just put, they already don't have those skills. And if you just put them out there and let them go, they're going to fail again. So setting them up for that success and setting them up for, I'm a realist. I believe that in life we have to be realistic. And I think that's what you're also teaching them, is that in the real world, when you get up on your feet, there are bills that have to be paid, there are budgets that have to be kept. Otherwise, they'll find themselves in a worse situation again. And
Correct.
being able to get the apartments to come on board, and I can understand how much of a task that can be, but to be able to get the apartments that are willing to do so and to be able to help these young people, why not?
Yes.
Why not? And so let's talk about, I know you have the case management services and the youth and family services that you all offer. Tell me a little bit more about that. And I know that you have licensed therapists that work with the youth as well. Tell us about all of that.
Yes, so we offer counseling to all of our clients. We don't enforce it because our clinical staff really believes that people need to want to be doing counseling if it's going to be successful for them. Exactly. And we also offer family counseling. One of the big things that we try to do with our clients is to have them reunify with their family if it's a safe and healthy environment. And so there are times where it may be a family setting where they're doing some family counseling. It may be counseling with the parents. And so our team is willing and able and ready. And we're actually looking to expand our therapeutic services. As you can imagine, the pandemic year and continues
Right.
has caused more trauma or
Yeah.
re-trauma to our clients. And
And
so we're
fear.
seeing a need to increase those services. So we're hoping in 2022 we'll be able to bring on at least another person on staff to offer therapeutic services.
I think that's huge. And you mentioned the pandemic. I can, only imagine how hard it is on them being so young. It's been hard on everyone. It's the unknown, and it's still something that we're going through. And I guess it's our new normal right now. But being able, from a mental standpoint, I am sure that it has affected a lot of young people, because they don't know what the next is going to be for them. Not only are they dealing with any other type of mental illness or homelessness or lack of shelter, they're also having to compile this new uh, environment that we live in now, if you will, which is the pandemic, and really how to navigate through that. And also at the same time, Sheri, how do you all protect them, talking about the pandemic? Because that has to be a lot to handle, as well as your team, meeting them, talking to them, being able to be in close proximity with the youth. How are you all navigating through that? It has to be challenging.
Oh, it has been challenging. It was really challenging at the very beginning. And what was the most challenging, especially for our transitional living kids, is the isolation.
Yeah.
And that was a very traumatizing event for many of our clients. And so one thing we did early on is we left one bedroom open in all three of our transitional living houses. So if we had a new client coming in, we would quarantine them for 7 to 10 days before they could come into the community environment. And we still have that. We've also partnered with a company that offers us self-testing.
Okay.
And so we are doing at both our transitional living and the emergency shelter. We do weekly testing for all the clients, and just to ensure that they're staying healthy and safe and they don't have the COVID. And so We test them every week. And we offer it up to all staff as well and all volunteers. And it's a great system. We let them test. We put our gloves on, give them the material. We overnight it, and the company gives us the results by that next evening.
Really?
And so that's
really
been
good.
really good. At our shelter, we just recently had exposure, and it became a positive test. What I've been amazed with is the staff growth and readiness. At the beginning, it was who's on first, and
Right.
now I'm so proud of this staff. Especially, we just had this at the shelter. They all got in line. They knew what to do. They knew how to quarantine. They got the test done. They got in their rhythm. It's when you have kids that are 5 and 6 and they're having to stay in a room at an emergency shelter, and you're having to feed them. You are doing door service. It gets complicated.
Yeah.
And I was meeting with the staff earlier this week, and they even said that about the staff. And I just we kind of have our new routines that everybody knows what to do. And instead of we don't take the fear approach, we take the controlled, let's make sure we get you safe approach, so that we can minimize any more fear that they may have already had, or re-traumatizing them. So the way we operate to be calm and helpful versus a panic. And so the staff has this staff is just, they're rock stars.
And that's awesome, because being prepared and being able to function under being calm, it helps the child as well, because it has to be, again, this is our new normal. It's something that we're not used to. And to be able to have a team, that says a lot about you as a leader within the company, to be able to have your team ready to go and being proficient in everything that they do. I mean, kudos to you to be able to do that with your team. Absolutely. And you have a program, Changing Lives, and 1 in 20 youth run away from home each and every year, which is very high and unfortunate. The Runaway Youth Organization, which cares for one of the largest, they're one of the nation's largest segment of missing children. Tell us about that particular program, and why do you think that the number is so high with youth running away from home every year?
Well, I think that there's a lot of bad things happening behind the doors. You think you've heard the worst story until the next client comes in. And there's the heightened use of drugs in the household by the parents, discord by the parents. It causes kids to run away. Sexual abuse, sexual trafficking is up significantly, and that's a huge reason. The other one that we've seen the increase, which we've touched on it, is the LGBTQ community, and how many kids, if they come out to their parents, the parents just shut the door on them, and they're faced with, now, what am I going to do? Or they're abused in a way that they need to flee and run away from that abuse.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. So with everything that City House does in making an impact in the life of children, youth, and our young adults, what is one of the biggest challenges that you think that City House has, if any, with being able to help the youth? What would be one of the biggest things that you can think of when you meet a child that may be one of the toughest things to work with them on? Would it be self-esteem, or what would it be?
Boy, that's a big question. It does depend on the child, but or the youth. Self-esteem is a big enough concept to really think about that. And we deal with kids that, because of lack of self-esteem or lack of feeling worth, then there's so many things that come out of that. They become that's when they go look to drugs to make them feel better, and then you have an issue there. That's when you are fearful that they're going to be suicidal.
Yeah.
And those are real issues that we deal with these kids. And that is also why therapy is a big tool. But again, the client has to be willing to have that conversation. And I think the other thing, I just had a staff member. I came to work today, and there was a young lady sitting out on the curb, and so she had slept out all night. And we typically open the doors at 10 o'clock for our street outreach so they can get prepared. And it was pretty chilly. And so we have a front area with a couch. And so I just said, let's go in and sit inside until they're prepared. At least you're out of the cold. And I'm talking to staff and letting them know she's in there. And she had been in before. And the staff member, because of the age bracket, because we do have an age bracket, that she was feeling like she didn't have a lot to offer her, and that is a big issue. There's not enough youth and young adult services in our community. We are the only one that does the services that we provide in depth. There's others in Dallas, but we need to, as a community, think about this youth and young adult, because if we really want to, as a people that are interested in ending homelessness, if we could focus on when they're younger and formidable and get them off of the streets and into a home, I believe we could have a bigger impact of really reducing the homeless
Absolutely.
population. And that's the heartbreak when I had my staff member going, I don't have a lot I can provide for her. It just broke my heart, you know?
Yeah, and I'm sure it did. That has to be very unfortunate. And to know that this young lady stayed out all night on the curb sleeping, and this was last night.
Yes, yes,
Wow, and it was very, very cold last night.
it
Very cold.
was.
And but thankfully, you all are there to help her. And I really hope you talk about worth. Worth is very important. It's something I talk about a lot. Just being a coach and working with women, I think a lot of times we tend to allow life to define who and what we are and who and what we shall become. And when we do that, it does tend to devalue our self-worth. And as a young person who can't articulate exactly what's going on inside, the first thing they know is lack of self-esteem. I'm not worthy. I'm not important. I am nothing. And so I'm glad that you referenced that, because if we can touch our young people, girls or boys, if we can touch them at a very tender young age and say, you know what, you are special, you are great, you are worthy, you are something. It doesn't mean that we're not going to go through things in life, tough challenges, but those challenges are to empower us and strengthen us. And if we can really get that through our children and empower them with that, oh my God, what a difference we'll be making in their lives. And then that's exactly what you and your team are doing. So I agree with you. I do think we need more organizations in communities that are doing exactly what you all are doing and having the courage and passion to do, and dedication to do
Right.
exactly what you and your team are doing in the community. I know that you all put on these amazing galas every single year. I know there was one you had, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's the Great Gatsby.
Oh,
And you
yes.
make them their fundraisers so that you can continue the work that you do. But it is also important to you to provide a great environment. They're fun, they're exciting, you have entertainment there, dancing, great food, but you also bring a strong message of letting every attendee know what your mission is. Tell us about your galas that you have.
So we just had one in September, and we didn't get to do one in 2020. And so our theme for the 2021 was Dream It Possible. And it was a beautiful event. It was dreamy. It was a gorgeous display of decorations and connections. Wonderful. And so there's the stars that you see. And so one of the things that we wanted to do this year, since we hadn't connected in 2 years, is to provide a way for our guests to touch our clients. And so every one of our guests got a star, if you can see this, and every our clients wrote on here. And so they could take this as an ornament home. And we didn't put names on this because of confidentiality, but the one I have several hanging in my background. This one was from a client that said, I dream of buying my own house and car. And this person was 18 years old. So we did that for our guests to be connected,
Right.
to be here for the reason and
That's
know it is
amazing.
still a beautiful, fun event. But we're here because of these kids, and
That's
what they provide to us allows us to serve those kids.
Isn't that awesome? I like that you did that, because what it does, I agree with you, it touches the heart of your attendees, and really it heightens the importance of why you do what you do in that
Yes.
one event. It really does. There are many ways to give to City House. I know, Sheri, you all have obviously the donations that people can give on your website, or look forward to attending your yearly fundraising galas that we just spoke about. But aside from giving online, which is important, you also have the donate through Target, you have Amazon Smile, and you also have schedule a drop off. Tell us a little bit about those different entities. I like that you have various ways that people can get involved today, and volunteering.
Right, and volunteering. So Amazon Smiles, we have a wish list out there, and it's updated. I think they do it weekly or very
Okay.
frequently, because we could get a big donation of, let's just say, water. And so then we'll take that off and put what's most needed. So our website is updated on Amazon. We also provide, we just recently posted something about the food packs that we were talking about earlier, and what a $25 donation would be, or if you wanted to buy the items for the food packs. So that's out there on the site as well. One thing we've done with Target is, obviously you can go and look at the wish list and buy it and bring it yourself, but you can also buy it and set it up for a pickup. And we have volunteers that will go do the pickup for us. So people
That's
that may
awesome.
want to give and not get out, for safety reasons. We had someone recently donate multiple cases of water. And so there's that option as well. And there was the third one. I can't remember what you said now.
That was okay. I talked about the Target
Yes.
and the Amazon Smile, and then the schedule drop off. That was it. And
Yeah.
then volunteering. That was it.
Yes, the schedule drop off. So we have Peyton McCutcheon. She works for us, and so she schedules any drop offs. And actually, people can drop off. Our office is open 9 to 5, Monday through
Okay.
Friday. And so we do take donations here. We do have a huge pool of volunteers. We have over 2,000 volunteers,
You do,
and we have
really?
people that do regular things. So every
Wow.
week we have donation divas or dudes that come in, and when we get drop offs, they organize it, because we have 5 properties.
Mhm.
And so if we get a big donation of food, snacks, or water, we'll want to make sure that we get a share to every property. So one person comes in every Wednesday, divides everything out, and then actually transports it to each one of the properties, so that each house or the shelter or the resource center can get the items that are donated. They also, one thing, if we get items that we can't use, and sometimes that does happen,
Mhm.
I always like to tell people we make sure they go to another
Yes.
needing organization that is serving a mission.
To still give.
So we regift it is what
That's
we
awesome.
do. But sometimes we've gotten too many canned food items. So we'll go and take it to another food pantry so that we're just giving back as well. So
You're paying it forward.
paying it forward. Yes, paying it forward.
Absolutely. Sheri, before we conclude, I want to ask you this. I love asking my guests their I got it moment. The I got it moment is a time in your life where at one point something didn't stick, but all of a sudden something transitioned in your life and there's a life lesson. And it stays with you for the rest of your life. What is your I got it moment since you've been with City House? What would that be?
Oh, I've had several, I think. Boy, that's a good question. Oh, wow. I wish I could have thought about this because it's there's so many things. I always say that we could actually probably do a reality show here. But one of the things that comes to mind, we had a client that she had gerbils when she came in. And we don't allow animals.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had had somebody care for those animals. And there were two of them. And they ended up somehow getting ill, and they died within a few days of each other. And this was so traumatic. And we actually, in talking to her, she wanted to keep the ashes. And so we went and made sure that these gerbils, they're only this big, were cremated, put into a box, and she had decorated it. And we housed that for her until she moved out.
Really?
And the aha moment is that we don't know what people need. We don't know what's going to make a difference in their life. The things that we might laugh at may be very important to somebody else. And just seeing this client and her growing and leaving the program and taking her box, and you just realize that there's so many small things. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It can be if we just listen.
Yeah.
And so that was an aha moment. I have a whole bunch of aha moments. I really wish I could write a book about them.
But I thank you for sharing that with us because, some people would have said, oh, those are just pets. They're not worthy. They mean nothing. Just toss them to the side. But the fact that you cared for her, but you all also cared enough for something that was important to her, because what you didn't know, and I'm sure you might have learned, and you've learned after getting to know her better, that was probably the only thing she's ever had to love her back.
Right.
You just never know.
Point.
And so it was important. And so thank you to you all for even taking the opportunity to caring for her pets, because that was a big thing to us. Other people, it might have been small, but that was huge, because it was huge to that young lady. And I'm sure that's something she'll never forget you all for doing that. Sheri, this has been an amazing interview. I am so ecstatically happy that you were here today to be able to enlighten us on all the good that you do. I try to ensure that the guests that come on the show, that the audience that are watching are inspired, empowered, educated, and have the tools so they too can live their best life. And so you have definitely done that today for us. And I thank you for that. And I really encourage everyone to log on to cityhouse.org to be able to give from a monetary standpoint, give of your time as a volunteer, also to learn all the different ways to give through Amazon Smile or Target, or schedule a drop off or pickup. And so be able to take the time to go to their website, learn even more, and take the time to give. Sheri, I want to thank you again for being here. Thank you so much, and continued blessings to you and your entire team for all the great work that you do.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Keep doing what you do. Keep loving on those precious kids and our youth and young adults. And again, thanks for being here today.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone, we're going to take a short break before we end the show, and we'll be right back in a moment. I always like concluding the show with manifestation, empowering you to believe in whatever it is that you're believing for. If it's starting a business, getting a promotion on a job, whatever it may be, writing a book, it's to encourage you to speak it and believe it. And also with speaking and believing, putting action to that and taking that first step toward whatever it is that you're hoping to come to fruition. Speaking with Sheri today, the executive officer of City House, and talking about our youth and young adults and how precious they are and the difference they're making in the community. Don't forget, I want to encourage you to reach out and find out how you can support City House so that you can help our youth and our children, our young adults to live their dreams, so that whatever that they're hoping for comes to fruition as well. I always say, if we can just reach back and lift someone else up and pay it forward, the blessings just comes back to you 100 times more. And so thanks for joining in today. Don't forget to send me a friend request on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you want to find out how you can hire me as your dating or conflict and resolution coach, you can definitely do so by going to letsconnectrelationships.com. If you're looking to hire me to speak at any of your corporate events or any upcoming events that you may have, you can do so by going to leslieohairemedia.com. Again, thank you for joining me today. We will be back here again next Friday, same time, every Friday, 3 p.m. Central Time, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.